He's been part of multiple attacks, received a couple of, not so nice attacks on our side, also been a veteran of it all. He survived intense shelling and across enemy fire, and also witnessed the loss of his comrades. For us, it's just things that we just hear about. Here's a man who's lived and seen it all. In the phase 2 of his life, he dedicated his life to education and retired as Doctor of Army Education Corps of the Indian Army, and along the course guided so many youth in his tenure as Principal Sainik School in Tilaiya, Bihar, Principal Sainik School, Golpara, Assam, Principal APS Lucknow, and Principal of APS Delhi Cantonment as well. So many of his students became officers and rose to the ranks of brigadiers and generals as well. It's an honor to have you with us. And to start off, yes, thank you. To start off, we will like to actually launch the YouTube channel with your hands, sir. And Sahil, if you could just assist Colonel Sinha with that. So we're going to be live streaming. Everybody's going to be a star this afternoon. All right, and our channel is actually live right now. The Mind Monk. Great. Thank you so very much, sir. We also have the pleasure of some distinguished guests in our midst. We have Dr. Govind Raj Desai. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Dr. Desai is presently serving as State Coordinator for Teachers Education in the Goa State Council of Education and Research and Training for the Government of Goa. In addition, he has also been entrusted with the additional charge of Coordinator of District Institute of Education and Training. Thank you for being there with us today. We also have with us Dr. Acharya. He's come all the way from Kolhapur just to be over here. Dr. Acharya is Vice Chancellor of the Olympiad Examination Council. Our ex-CM, as I mentioned earlier, was supposed to be here, but he sent his regrets and his best wishes as well for Dr. Ratnesh. Can we have a little bit of felicitation happening for our dignitaries over here? Oh, Dr. Desai is also over here. Great. Welcome, Dr. Desai. Dr. Desai is the Secretary of Sri Yashwantrao Bhosle Education Society. Thank you for being there with us. As a token of appreciation, we have something small for you all. Last but not the least, they say, huh? Thank you very much. Okay, the reason we are here mostly, obviously there are three things happening. We are done with the YouTube channel launch. Next up, we have the launch and conversation of the ebook, the one that we've been eagerly waiting to get our hands on. We also have a conversation on the book to get insights of what the pages will unravel for us. And to do that, we have two gentlemen. One you all know, one maybe not so much. So I'm going to introduce them. May I invite Sanjeev Verma to the stage. Sanjeev, where are you? If you're clapping just for Sanjeev walking, now wait till I do his intro. Sanjeev is an author himself with a corporate career spanning over 3 decades. Sanjeev, you can take a seat.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks. In global leadership roles with companies like Rolls-Royce and Johnson & Johnson, he decided to quit it all and dedicate the next phase of his life to his passions in creative arts and self-awareness. Good job, man. Today, he is an artist and seeker of total self-awareness, working across arts, photography, writing, theater, filmmaking, and psychology of healing, and also self-growth. After living in foreign lands across the world in the US, UK, and Singapore for close to 20 years, he has now made Goa his home. How many Goikars in the house? A lot of them? Congratulations. Good choice, yeah, Sanjeev? Goa is actually wonderful. Sanjeev, we're looking forward to your conversations with Ratnesh.
Absolutely.
Yes, are you all set?
I am so excited.
Great. Next up, a quick word about the man we are here for. I want to say a quick word, but there is so much about him, and it would do injustice if I made it quick. So here goes. He has given 23 years of his life to the Indian Army, active counter-insurgency operations, cross-border operations, bomb disposal, the sort of work where you're allowed to be wrong only once. He's a Kargil war veteran, and somewhere in those years, he was also a battle casualty, which is very understated way of saying he has quite literally bled for this country and walked back to work the next morning. Now, you'd expect a man who's seen so much of action to carry it very heavily. He's the opposite. His whole philosophy fits into a single line. Life is serious business, and precisely because of that, it's meant to be lived lightly. I love it. He's simply seen enough to know which things deserve the weight and which don't. And he's carried that lightness everywhere. He's traveled the globe, traded ideas inside international academic institutions with people who'd read everything, stood shoulder to shoulder with soldiers and officers of more than one army, sat across corporate boardrooms whose decisions cross borders before lunch. And a long way, he's counseled people of nearly every background and ethnicity you can name. Because when you do that long and that so much, you can only listen. You stop seeing nationalities and start noticing the same handful of every human being underneath. That's where his real insight into human mind comes from. Not a library, but real people. He's also never kept any of it for himself. Through the Gleeman Foundation, he spent years carrying his work out to communities that never had access to it, because to him, understanding people and serving them were always the same sentence. So what does a man like that do today? He is Chief Executive Officer of Bhosle Knowledge City in Santwadi and Commandant of the Sainik School there as well. He's shaping military leaders of the future. He's also the editorial patron of Bureaucracy India, one of the country's leading magazine, and almost as a side project, he's built a complete framework for human development he calls the human quotient. The full architecture of what makes a person, not merely a clever one. And today, he's quietly added one more word to that list. Today, he's an author. The world knows him as the Mind Monk. Yeah, deserves a round of applause, doesn't it? Where is he? I want to see him blush. Yeah, there he is. We just know him as a fellow who wrote the book. Please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Ratnesh Sinha.
Hi, Sanjeev.
But before I hand over the stage to Sanjeev and Dr. Sinha, may I ask him to hit the button and unravel the book we are all waiting to get our hands on. Sahil, can you help us with that?
Yeah. Where? Okay.
Here we go. Round of applause.
It will come.
It's going live.
Anyway, it's going live, so it's almost there.
All
anyway,
right, we'll
you
see
started.
that when it
Yeah,
happens.
thanks.
All right, thank you, Ratnesh. Over to you, Sanjeev. We'd like to hear a lot more about the book itself and about Dr. Sinha.
Absolutely. It is my pleasure. And the only difference is you guys are seeing the book launch right now. And I had the pleasure of reading the book before I came in over here. And I must tell you, I read it once and then I read it twice. And since it is already mentioned in the book, I am going to quote one small incident. I hope you don't mind.
Please, yeah.
By the way, this evening, it's not going to be a formal conversation like me having a standard set of questions and him answering. It is going to be a little bit of, not a little bit of, it's quite participative. So I'm actually going to be playing by your side. I'm your representative standing in over here, and we're going to grill Mr. Sinha and be ready
With
for
pleasure.
some tough questions.
Yeah.
So let me test. I mean, if we can do a little bit of an interaction right before we start the conversation. So let's say, God forbid, if you're walking on the street and something hits you on your eye or on your forehead, what's the first words that come out of your mouth? No French words allowed. So we have to keep it civil, especially knowing that there is a little bit of a sensitivity about the expletives around the country these days. So what will be the first words that will come out of your mouth? Anybody? Come on. Yes, please.
Thank you, God.
Okay, so we got quite a noble start here. Who wants to go a little bit more authentic in terms of what would come out of your ouch? Okay, we're getting there. So from thank you God to ouch. Any other takers? Any other takers? Sorry? Okay, yeah, thanks for the censorship. What the F? Anybody else? Yeah, Vikas? What the hell did I do wrong, right? So here's a man who's dealing with one of the bombs that you were trying to dispose, and suddenly a shrapnel hit his eye, and he's done permanent damage to his eye. And the first word that comes out of his mouth is, one eye for the country. So can we have a round of applause for... And I'm sure, sir, you've imparted the best values any son could get, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So Ratnesh, I'm not going to call you retired Lieutenant Colonel Ratnesh, so it is going to be
perfectly fine,
Ratnesh.
yeah.
So, I mean, we heard all your accolades and what all and what not you have done. And as typically it happens, people have lived their life and suddenly come to the retirement and chalo ek kitab likhte hai, let's write one book, So many books already in the market, talking about psychology and, self-awareness and all that kind of stuff. What made you decide that this world needs one more book?
Okay, so it's not a very simple answer to this question, because there are a couple of facets involved with this.
Okay.
So I'll name both the facets, one after the other. So the first is, over the years of my life, I realized that I am blessed genetically to be happy, okay? And around me, when I have been interacting with people, I saw that there was something missing, okay? Something missing from that genuine happiness which comes from the core of the heart, yeah? So somewhere down the line, I just felt that I owe it to at least those near and dear ones, so that they also feel that same happiness, same intensity of joy, which somehow is always present, okay, as far as I am concerned. This was one. This was one aspect, and this was just a fleeting thought. It really did not inspire me to write the book as such. The second thing which happened, again, this is something which happens to all of us. Okay, we all receive cards from people who are very near and dear to us. My sister has been giving me cards to the best brother in the world for years now. Okay, so my daughter and son, they give to the best father in the world, right? You all get cards from your, near and dear ones. So once it so happened that one of my nieces, she gave me a card which said, to the best person in the world. Now, that was a compliment, and I didn't take it as if I am the best person in the world. But that sentence, it actually got me thinking as to what is that thing because of which a person can become the best person, who can be the best in all the relationships he has, across the board, best brother, best father, best sister, whatever, best. And how do you manifest that, and how do you live that? So that was the thought process which started maybe my inquisitiveness. And as we all have heard a lot about the balance between the IQ and the EQ, my journey also started from there itself, right? Maybe I added another thing which was there in my mind, that was the spiritual quotient. And the spiritual quotient is something as to what is my inner core, right? So it started from there. And then slowly, gradually, over the years, I read something, I dropped it, I wrote something, I dropped it. This journey continued for about 10 to 12 years. And that's how the evolution of this human quotient framework came in. And, that's the journey of human excellence. That's what I feel. It is for the world, for the audience, for people who read the book, to really understand whether what I have brought it there has some logic in it or not. There is a lot of research more to be done on that. This is a preliminary work. So that's the answer to my question. Your question, sorry. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to be the best dad, best father, best husband, best son, whatever best, how does your book help in terms of being that?
Okay, see, first thing, it's not that the book will help anybody.
Okay.
Frankly, I'm telling you that. It is that awareness, that consciousness. If somebody has that thirst in his heart, that yes, I want to elevate myself, I want to be the best person, I want to be a good guy, like good person, right? So that awareness is a must. And then if you read this with an open mind and you try to analyze all the questions which have been brought out, something from your life you will be able to mirror in what you read. And I am sanguine that you will get on that path. We all are a work in progress.
Sure.
No one is perfect. And it's the consciousness. That's the starting point.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just picking up an example from your book. I mean, we all know military training, you know, how tough that is in that particular perspective. And you mentioned one particular incident and you were involved. You were leading a small group of people in some very God-forsaken high altitudes and stuff like that. And there was a question which you raised. I mean, those conditions were really, really very inhuman. And you're facing people with guns and a lot of other stuff. What makes those people stand in the face of that level of adversity? I mean, you're also, I mean, I'm sure you're genetically, you said you are positively dispossessed, you're blessed. But in quite a lot of sense, you're like one of us. So what happened, you know, that made you to face those inhuman conditions and still be there in terms of that? I mean, there's mentioned in the book. Would you want to talk a little bit more about, you know, what made you the person who you actually became at that time?
Okay. Well, I'll share a little background to this because I cannot get there right away. So, like I said, I have been fortunate in life. So, I got commissioned at a very early age. I was just about 20 years plus. And my first posting was in the valley where we had 6 feet of snow and I was there on the high altitude. You know, and that year itself, 1990 was the year when the border had flared up. Across the entire LOC, rapid firing and massive cross-border interactions were happening. So it was a hotbed where I was inducted immediately after commissioning. So as a youngster, you know, you were 20 years old, you have that full josh inside you. So we didn't even think twice that it was anything great. We thought that, wow, okay, we've come here and it is the best place for our training to get, validated. And so it happened. We had a lot of, I have quoted just one instance in the book, but we had so many other operations with the Pakistani soldiers, with militants. And it's just a part of duty. You ask any Fauji, you know, any military guy, he will say that it was just duty. It was in the line of duty I did this. You know, I talk to my father even today, like, you know, 65 operations, the kind of instances which I have heard while growing up still brings goosebumps into my, entire body. But still he says it's just part of duty. It happened, you know. And so thank you so much. And the same thing, I think it happens with all of us. But yes, one thing I would like to say over here, that when a soldier is there in the line of duty and he is taking a bullet for his colleague, that is one instance which I think is the epitome of human excellence. Because all the quotients which I have brought out in my book, or which are there existing since the world began, because human mind has been constant, okay, that is one thing which hasn't changed over the years. So those things are very, let us say, I'm not getting the right word, they're universal. But that particular moment is the moment of excellence. Okay, where everything gets aligned. You don't think about yourself. You don't think about your family. Nothing. It's one state of mind, and you really are driven for action beyond which words can express. But that is that situation which brings it.
Sure. And in fact, just for the people, I mean, until I read the book, I mean, this particular point did not, strike me that powerfully. I mean, a lot of us, we think about, military training is for what? To toughen people up. I mean, build muscles, build, that resolve, no matter what happens. And it's all about bravado. And yeah, we can all think about the aviator and, flying and those kind of stuff, the fun, the thrill stuff. But the point which you mentioned, it's not a training to be tough. It's a training to take bullet for your comrade. I mean, for your mate, for your buddy. And just imagine, I mean, a bullet is coming. You don't have a, PowerPoint analysis, okay, the bullet is coming, what should I do? My values teach me this, and my training teaches me this, and this. And it's an instantaneous decision. There's no thought. There's no second thought as to what to do. And, you come in the path of the bullet that is traveling to your mate. That training doesn't happen with, just the bravado or the macho factor which we all associate it with. So, I mean, it didn't land on me. I don't know about you guys, that the whole thing is, and as you rightly said, it is about, the physical strength, the mental strength, the emotional strength, but all are converging up to go to a state where you can offer yourself as a service to somebody else.
Now, I just want to add on to this. That level of, let us say, excellence, okay, in your thought process can be achieved. The whole book is about that. You don't have to be a soldier. You don't have to be at that 13,000 feet. You don't have to be in the 6 feet of snow. You still can achieve that.
So
that is what this book is all about.
So that is what we are, very interested in talking about, because, okay, we do know you have, and we are going to invite Sir a little bit later on the day. You were very lucky to have a father who trained you right from the beginning, and we are going to hear a little bit more about that. And, I'm going to talk about my parents also, we wanted to play on the street, gully cricket, right? Everybody in the town, they do that. I was not allowed to play gully cricket because my clothes will get dirty. And, or, those kids are not good company. And the funny part is the kids who are not supposed to be good company and I'm supposed to keep away from them, a decade later, my father is standing hand folded in front of them because they have become a counselor or something. In the end, it's like we were never trained to deal with these kind of things. We were never trained to have dirt on our clothes, let alone overcome various fears and all that kind of stuff. So my question is, not everybody is as lucky as, having your father as their father or the kind of training that you received. So for us lesser mere mortals, you have given this particular book for us to get trained on. So how does your book help? What does it offer us for people who have not been exposed to that sort of challenges, those sort of, adversities? How does your book help in terms of backfilling that lack, the gap that we have?
Okay, you see, it is more about, there's a saying, prevention is better than maintenance, right? So, if we take human being as a commodity or a product, so the most important thing is the mind, as we all understand that. So, if we are able to train the mind in a particular way, right from the beginning, when the child is a toddler, I would rather go to the extent of saying that even when the child is conceived, so the parents have to be conscious about few things in life, okay? And if they are conscious about building their quotients to that level and impart the same thing to the child, I am quite certain that the final product which will come out, okay, would be resilient enough and let us say strong enough to withstand the
So let's ask people.
yeah,
I mean,
please.
do we have floating mics?
yeah, we have the
The
cordless
cordless,
mics.
Yeah.
Yes, I
So
do.
the question is, how many of you think, the lack of training or the lack of tempering that we have missed and we haven't received the military training, it can be overcome? How many of you think it is possible to make up for that lost time, lost training? Do we believe that we can actually achieve that sort of a thing now? Any thoughts? Yes or no? That's also an acceptable answer.
I feel that jab jaage tab savera.
Okay.
And there is no age to changing. And the day you decide that you actually want to make a change in yourself, I feel his book can really do that wonder, because you understand the society judges you with IQ. Like, it is so much said that if a child is not intelligent, the child is not good enough. Whereas this book proves, and it really tells you, no, it is not the only thing. There are so many other things which are equally important. So by just reading this book, you will at least have this awareness and this you will overcome this ignorance or the conditioning which you've had since childhood. Okay, only IQ is important. EQ and SQ, and there are a lot of Qs. There are 11 Qs
We're gonna talk
in
about
his
that.
book, yes,
Yeah.
and which can make a difference at any age, even now. I'm 53,
Okay.
and I feel we, as he said, we are all work in progress.
Yes.
So we can progress at any time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else has any other view or anything that you would like to share? How many of us have heard about IQ and EQ? Okay, so this is not a test. We might want to talk about, I do know I have a comrade here, my buddy. I generally volunteer his pocket to announce some prizes. He's looking at me and laughing. I might not be able to do that today, but so what's your understanding of IQ? What is IQ? Anybody? Let's just share your thoughts. I mean, sorry, I didn't. Can somebody raise the hand so that I know?
Pattern recognition and problem solving.
Okay, here comes a very engineering scientific answer. Okay, anybody else? I saw you were speaking, sir. Yeah.
I think it's the general intelligence that you have.
Okay.
The way you handle things, the way you, like he said, problem solving. Basically, it is the mind which is at work to solve your problems or daily challenges. How you approach life, basically.
Okay.
So it is your intelligence that comes into play.
Intelligence that comes into play for handling life. We might have some surprising stuff for him to talk about.
Exactly.
Okay. Anybody else about? Okay, we have.
I feel it's the common sense which uses all the five senses together to come at a particular solution.
Solution about what?
About any problem, about any situation, about anything that comes up in our life.
Okay. Okay, that's brilliant. We do have a very, awakened
Yes.
crowd in over here. Anybody else about IQ? What about EQ? Emotional quotient. We heard of that? And what is our understanding? What does EQ mean?
Basically, actually, dealing with emotional response to the situations.
Wow. Okay.
How you respond to the thing. First of all, being aware of yourself.
Okay.
I think that is the first thing in the emotional intelligence.
Okay.
That you need to be aware that how you are responding to things, and then based on that you can bring about a control in your emotions.
Okay.
So I think in a nutshell.
Awesome. But the point which you just mentioned, general intelligence to handle situation in life, if that was IQ, where does EQ fit in?
Emotion is all connected to the heart.
Okay. So we
Intelligence is the mind where you gain, the knowledge basically.
heart and mind. Absolutely. Anybody else on EQ?
EQ is something wherein we are not hurting the feelings of somebody else just by making sense.
Okay.
I feel that emotional quotient is being sensible enough, making use of your IQ, but without hurting anybody's feelings.
Very good. So we have some Meher talking about. Yeah, we got to have a little bit of a running exercise here.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I think that the emotional quotient covers all the emotions: anger, grief, sorrow, happiness, joy, and the EQ is our understanding of all of these emotions. All the emotions that a human can experience.
Okay.
So yeah, just
Can
empathy
experience and
also.
do what?
And just handle them for ourselves or for others. If I'm experiencing anger, how aware am I of that anger or of that sorrow or of that joy?
Okay.
And how receptive I am of it for myself and for others. Just all the emotions.
Brilliant. So we have, yeah. Can we get a mic to the front?
I will say it in a very simple words. Okay, for an EQ, I would say it's keeping the right balance. Okay, right balance between for you, for others,
Okay.
or a balance of for both.
Okay.
Okay, that is something that you decide on the situation wise, that you are thinking for the people, for yourself, or you being neutral.
Okay.
Okay, that is situational wise you have to decide on, where there is nothing as right or wrong.
Okay.
It depends on the person who is taking a decision on that,
Okay.
and the people who are getting affected with that.
Wow. Okay, now I do need to hear some voice. I'm going to make a statement. If you agree with it, so first we'll talk about people who agree with it, and they have to say yes. So we, on the count of 1, 2, 3, the people who would agree with that, they will say yes. And then afterwards, the people who do not agree with it, they will say no. And then we'll come to the maybe part. Okay? So the statement is, once we've got IQ and EQ sorted, our life is sorted. Okay? On count of 3, people who agree with this, I repeat the statement. Once we get the IQ and EQ sorted, our life is sorted. Agree? 1, 2, 3. I was saying yes first. Nobody agrees. Okay, we got 3 or 4 no's. I think we've got about 40 odd people in here, so we need to hear a little bit more noise, right?
Yeah.
So people who agree, can we say yes?
Raise your hands.
Okay, we got 1 hand. Nobody agrees. Okay, people who do not agree with my statement, say no. Okay, people who say maybe, say maybe. Okay, 1. Just say maybe. Everybody, just say maybe. Cool. Well, I'm going to flip this question over to you now. Do you think IQ and EQ alone?
Well, that's what this book is all about.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So, you see, that's where the journey started, okay? Because we have heard a lot about the balance between the IQ, EQ. And there are researchers who have spent a lifetime in doing considerable, solid, valuable research on this. And they are Harvard, Stanford luminaries who have their entire ecosystem built up around this, and they have millions of followers, okay, on this. But nowhere there was an overlap of lot of other areas of human thought process, okay, which were interjecting between this IQ and EQ, right? So what I have endeavored to do is kind of do the sifting of these interjections. Okay, for example, we say a very good leader, a great leader. Okay, so that defines a leadership quotient in a person. So what does it take for a person to be a great leader? Okay, so there would be certain qualities we all would say. Leadership is another area where nowadays a lot of training is happening. There are people training across the country and delivering a lot of meaningful talks on that. But the leadership which is again being marketed is something totally different. And what we understand, like courage, valor, your confidence, the qualities which we all think are very important for a great leader, I somehow will not totally agree with that. Because the leadership begins with yourself. Okay, so I say leadership of the self is first and foremost the most important thing. A person who cannot lead his own self, right? How will he lead others? Now that's a very basic, simple, logical thing which I'm asking you, right? So now to lead yourself is again an entire dimension in itself. You would people have spent their lifetime in researching leading yourself, discovering yourself. That's a conversation for some other time. But the fact is that even, let us say, we have branded somebody as he's a great leader. Now, there have been so many leaders who were great leaders, but their other quotients were suppressed. They didn't have those moral values. Their ethics were lopsided. Okay, they were poor at social interactions. Right? There are other areas.
So any leaders name that comes to your mind? Great leaders, but poor at moral values, poor at social values. Okay, Hitler. So we got one name. What are the names? Steve Jobs? Donald Trump? Okay. So we have Orange Man, Donald Trump, with Vijay Mallya. Okay. But I would disagree on that. He had good social, quotient in terms, though it was in a different direction. Any other names which come to your mind? Sorry?
Can't spell it out.
Oh, you can't? Okay. For obvious reasons,
Yeah.
if I may say. Okay, we get that. So that's beep beep. Okay. Anybody else? I mean, one of the things you actually talked about in the book, and that's what is quite impressive. I mean, a lot of time we have the understanding of these quotients, and that's why I asked, what do you mean by IQ? Because I also believe similar thing. And the way you distinguish that in the book, IQ, a lot of time the way it is, especially the way it is measured when you go for an IQ test, it's your ability to process something faster or your ability to memorize something. That's how your EQ is checked. But the way you describe, very simply, it's your ability to learn continuously. Something new has come, the situation has changed. How quickly do you learn skills or whatever? Same thing with the leadership. A lot of people talk about tons of stuff on the leadership, but it's all about making choices. So that's what I loved about your book in terms of where you are explaining these quotients. And there are, by the way, if you don't know, 12 quotients. So we'll get to that, all the 12 in a little bit of a time. But the way you explained, and now you're giving an example, we heard some names. So how would you describe? They had the leadership quotient very high, but other quotients were not so developed.
Okay, a lot of names come in my mind, Sanjeev. We have Sir Isaac Newton. Okay, everybody knows that he was a genius in his own right, but he led a very lonely life. He didn't have good relationships. Okay, so that relationship side is lopsided. We all know about Steve Jobs. He was a brilliant administrator, operationally excellent, great strategist, but he had his own problems on his personal side. We all know them. They have been the greatest minds. Okay, but they all had very skewed relationships, and they did not value. In fact, if you all can Google later, Charles Dickens had his own wife. He left her for another person and then treated her very badly. And so why all that happened? Because of the balance of the quotients. Now, you are very successful. How the society, let's say, evaluates success is something totally different. And what you are inside, what's your core, is different. So it's all aspirational as to what I want to become. What is my, let us say, thrust area in life.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I, and I'll digress a bit because this is a thought which has just come to my mind.
Okay.
This society, the way it has evolved, is they have valued that IQ to a very high level, where the only thing which matters is what is the financial success of that person. And if that person is financially successful in the top of the society, he has got a right to get away with a lot of crime he does to people around him. So is that fair? Is it justified? Is that expectation of the society really in place? And why does human mind think like that? These are all questions which you have to answer, which the answer for which you will get in my book.
You raise a very important question in your hand, like, somebody who's very financially successful, they can get away with many things. I mean, if we bring this example closer to our place, I mean, same is true for people who are intellectually, very, very highly revered, and they can almost get away with not having, some of the other stuff. In fact, your book has one of the example where you talk about a student. I'm hoping it is a real student.
Yes.
Who is great at sports, who's great at empathy, who's great at leadership skills, but he's not scoring well. And suddenly the question has come, is he a success or a failure? Because if you look at the standard markers, he's a failure. But according to your book, he has got quite a lot going for himself. And what would you say? I mean, for these kind of people, what's the message? I mean, what
I'll just put it in a little different way. See, let's say this particular boy, 13, 14, 15 years, we have some educationalists here as well, right? So this boy is good at everything. He does great in debates and participates in a lot of sports activities. His friends, peers come to him for a lot of suggestions, and he's got everything going good for him. But yeah, he doesn't score well. He gets a 40-50 percentage marks or something like that. And his parents come to the school. They have a PTM, so called, and the teacher is telling him that your child is distracted. Okay? And the parents are feeling sorry for their child. The child who's brilliant otherwise, their parents are sitting and they're feeling sorry in front of the teacher and the principal because he is not scoring the marks. So where is it justified? So this is a place where I have put a question mark for the reader as to what would you like your child to be?
Sure.
You really want him to be only a great scorer? But that's what this last century has done to the mankind. That's why, in spite of all the AI, etc., the technology advancements which are happening, we have reached that stage of, you can say, moral deprivation.
So I'm going to invite you guys to have your own questions, because this book, actually, I personally would say is a treasure of knowledge. I mean, if we pick one chapter, we can probably spend 2-3 evenings just discussing about that. So there's a lot which is going to come out. But if these kind of ideas are bringing some questions into your head, we are going to pass around. So I'm just going to ask a question. But in the meantime, if you have questions popping in your head, you can raise your hand so that we can get the mic to you. So we'd like to get that moving. Just a continuation to that, and in the meantime, guys, start thinking. In fact, we have got a lot of audience internationally joining us via webinar.
Yeah,
so,
how many, Sahil? Okay,
what's
me
the
just
number? Yeah, I know we have quite a bit. So even people on the webinar, if you can hear me, you can please type in your question on the comment section, and we'll get that. So. With whatever concepts we have talked about, or if there is something else that you want to know what else is in the book, please think about it while I carry this part of the conversation, and we'll come with the microphones to you. So as you said about this particular child whose parents are feeling sorry for him because he's not scoring marks, according to you, what would be, so I give you two choices. What are the paths that the kid could take? Ignore intellectual stuff and just concentrate on what he's good at, or actually spend some time in developing his mark skill, intellectual skill as well? Which path would you recommend?
Okay, I'll just relate another example with this.
Okay.
I have at least more than, I think, dozen examples, very close people in around my life with whom I've grown up, who wanted to take careers in sports, who wanted to take careers in music, but they were not encouraged by their families and the school, and they exactly did what you have asked. They said, okay, leave that aside, focus on studies, and get good marks and get a career, the conventional career which you want. And there are innumerous examples where, let's say 10 years down the line, 2 decades down the line, they have changed, they switched over because they didn't get that satisfaction in that pursuit of the conventional careers. So there is fear in the minds of parents, okay, and this fear is something which is like a poison and which destroys lives, not only of that individual but a lot of connected lives. So yeah, that's a question for the reader again, I should say that.
Yeah. No?
Yeah.
I mean, let's hear it from people. Sure, sir.
Oscar, mic is there, yeah. Anyone who raises the hand, please will get the mic here.
So I just want to pick up from a point that you made about, so my question relates to what defines success. So there is the conventional method of defining success, which is very straitjacketed, and there is a more fluid way of defining success, which is multidimensional. So how does one evolve for oneself? What is that definition of success? Because ultimately that definition is for you, and it should give you a degree of satisfaction and joy, etc. when you do that. So how does one develop that strength to evolve that definition of success for oneself, rather than going by what's
So that's a
conventionally
lovely
done?
question, and somehow I think the answer to this question is summing up my entire book actually. You see, what happens is we all look for validations in life. Okay, we all have got some set standards which we relate to. Okay, and we want to be like that. Okay, so and unfortunately, all those standards are materialistically gauged. Okay, now how many parents would you come across who would say that I want my child to be the best possible version of himself or herself? Rest will fall into place. How many parents would think like that? So the definition of success is again something which needs a redefinition in the minds of the people. That is what I feel, sir. And you'll get more answers once you read the quotes.
In fact, what he's talking
Yeah.
about is actually the fundamental of spirituality quotient, which we are going to
Exactly,
talk about.
yeah, that's-
Absolutely the next topic in that sense. But let's hear any other hands. Yes, sir, please.
Take the mic here, Raman.
Yes, thank you. To become a complete man, is it necessary to have all the quotients that you have defined? I think 12 quotients.
Beautiful
you had-
question.
And
There are 12. I mean, guys, you can look at
Okay.
the graphic over there. There are 12 quotients.
Okay,
we are
Raman,
going to
very good this thing.
if we don't have all these, then could we call it a successful man? Or how many quotients we need
See,
to become
successful you can be.
Okay.
Success, that's what it is. Success is a very personal definition. And that's where I have tried to, let us say, deviate from the conventional norms which are existing. And that is why, let's say, the mankind is where it is today. Okay? Now, this was for, this answer was for some other time, but then let me answer him.
Sure.
Okay. See, what are my questions? You need to understand that first. Okay. So, basically, can you just flash on the viewfoil my temple
diagram.
model, Sahil? Can we just flash that temple model on the viewfoil? Or you can just flash the cover of the book. Yeah. Or if you all can see this over here, but it's a little small. Yeah, just take a second. So, this model which you see, the base is the spiritual quotient. Now, what is the spiritual quotient? The spiritual quotient has nothing to do with spirituality. It has got nothing to do with religion. Okay. My endeavor is to bridge the gap between the ancient wisdom. That ancient wisdom is not only Indian ancient wisdom. Primarily, I have referred to Upanishads and Vedas and Gita, Vedanta, the Patanjali Sutras. But the same concepts exist in Buddhism. The same concepts exist in Confucius thoughts, in Zen thoughts. That whole thought is about the idea of the self. How you improve yourself, how you control yourself. Okay, the best exalted state of a human mind. So that all our ancient scriptures talk about it. Now, through the quotients, we make a bridge between those thoughts and modern science. Okay, so it's a very scientific thing, and everything is empirically driven. Though I have not been able to do the empirical research in letter and spirit, but it is a work in progress, like I said. So, when we talk about the spiritual quotient, it is what my core is, what my core beliefs are. Like we said that for success, I want to, let us say, reach a particular position in my career, and for that I am okay to pull somebody down. Right? So, I am achieving my success, but simultaneously, I am okay to do that. I am okay to do a bitching around for my colleague behind his or her back. Okay, so am I doing that? No. So spiritual quotient is the base. So, and believe me, every human being knows what is right and what is wrong. We all know it in our heart of hearts. The definition, it's a debatable thing. Somebody says what is right for you can be wrong for me. But I say what is principally right is actually universally understood. Okay, that's why we say, we are pulled by the evil deeds and lifted up by the nobleness.
Sure.
Yeah. So, spiritual quotient is the base, right? Now comes the 10 pillars, the pillars which you see in the center, the different multicolored pillars. Now, each pillar represents one quotient, and it starts with the intelligence quotient. Okay, so we have intelligence quotient, we have emotional quotient, we have adversity quotient, we have moral quotient, we have social quotient, we have a creative quotient. Okay, and so these 10 pillars, they are the different quotients which are there, and on the top is the wisdom quotient. So wisdom quotient is the capstone. Now, all these 10 pillars, can anyone tell me any one of them, if it is absent, will it make you complete? Somewhere it is required. So this is what this temple model is. And how to integrate these pillars is my wisdom. Right? So it is the development of this. Now, we can take a lifetime to develop this.
Sure.
It's all work in progress.
And what Oscar was saying, that's what we said when you said, how do we know, what is required, what is success for us? And we felt that, that's exactly what spirituality quotient is. What your, purpose of life is, what you're here for. And it takes a little bit of a time to discover that. And as you described very beautifully, that wisdom is what you learn from it. So it's almost like you know what your purpose is, which is the base, and then the life happens. Initially we talked about, is IQ and EQ sufficient? Whether the answer is yes or no doesn't matter, because life will put you through adversity. So adversity quotient will come in. Life will, put you through situations which are demanding certain moral standing or love or, humility in that particular perspective. So it's almost like 10 streams of life which are going, and whatever life teaches you becomes wisdom, and you keep coming back to your purpose in that particular perspective. In the interest of time, I know there are more questions, but I would want to ask you on behalf of everybody. We are where we are. Some of us have got, certain quotients developed. For the first time, we are actually knowing that there are so many quotients for us to measure our life.
I also didn't know it.
Yep. Okay. and we'll have a separate conversation on that.
Yeah.
What do we do about it? Okay, now we know. I know that I probably need to work a little bit more on love quotient or social quotient or something else.
It's all about awareness, Sanjeev.
So how do we go?
It's awareness. Firstly, the thing is, if I feel that I'm perfectly fine, I don't need to change, so it's done, finished. There is no further discussion on that.
Sure.
I'm the best. Great. Fantastic. Carry on your life. But yes, if you genuinely care about yourself, if you genuinely care about your core, okay, then this book is meant for them.
So what happens, let's say, if somebody walks in and say, hey, I'm stuck in this relationship, or, I lost my job, God forbid, and I'm in that sort of a situation, how would you help that person?
Oh, that's a separate chapter altogether. That's counseling.
Let's do the
Okay.
starting point of, what would your approach be, and what does this book tell about?
See, okay, I'll say the first step for anything is awareness and transparency. Truth to your own self. Even in all the counseling sessions, the subjects who come to you, the clients who come to you, they are hiding something and they are telling you picture perfect statements because they are shy to tell the truth. So they will, even to a counselor, they will tell false statements. What is politically correct is something they will say. So such cases will never find a solution. Never. Only the cases who are genuine, who want genuine transformation, who want a genuine change, who are telling the truth, okay, will transform. So this is my
And one
personal
thing which
take
you
to this.
also mentioned for people who are genuinely interested in transformation, you talk about in the book, as you said, first step being awareness. But the second step, which is, I think, the crux of the matter, is small challenges.
Yes.
Each quotient you can develop by consciously introducing certain challenges in those areas so that you can excel.
Yeah.
And which probably brings in the military mindset and, or some of the other life experiences that you had. I mean, your own life is an example of that. So, I mean, if you were to summarize one message out of this book for our audience here and who are joining us over the web,
That romance will automatically fall in line. Yeah.
So right. You're so right.
So there are a lot of other things, but this is something I feel is of paramount importance. Be humble. Have a lot of love inside you, and be fearless.
On Humble, I'm going to quote that line, which is my favorite line from his book. He says, what is humility? I mean, a lot of people talk about humility, and he wrote it so beautifully. Humility is not about people thinking less of themselves. It's not about people thinking less of themselves. It's people thinking about themselves less. What a beautiful way to say. But I'm so glad that it's not just a book, because as you said, book, there are so many questions, there are so many stuff, and such a beautiful, rich content that you have written. Everybody, I'm sure, would benefit. But what is even better, what is even greater, is you're not stopping just at this book. It comes with whole paraphernalia of support system and another app which is also coming up.
Yeah,
which is
we'll talk about that.
In terms of providing that support. It's not just talking. It's not just somebody writing theories and walking away. You're actually walking the talk, through that. So may I invite Taz back on the stage, because he's going to let Ratnesh talk about the app which he's working on, which is going to spread this wisdom quotient and all that stuff we have been talking about in real life, in the real cases. Taz.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev. I'm not going to steal the thunder from the man himself. I'm going to let him talk about the app. But what I am going to do is share the vision of the app. Okay. But before I share the vision of the app, did you see Ratnesh actually blush when you started talking about the romantic quotient over there? I know. Yeah, right? The man's got the flame still burning, Great, man. All right. So, the vision of the app, it says, a world where mental well-being is a right, not a privilege. I just love this one, Ratnesh. It's lovely.
Thank you.
Where good counseling reaches every person in every corner, regardless of where they were born or what they can pay. So that's the entire ethos, that's the vision. The purpose is simply 4 points. It says access for all, reach the unreached, the whole human, and pro bono at heart. So, big commendations for that. I really love that.
Can we have that, the app curtain raiser?
We're ready, Ratnesh.
Yes. We're waiting for you to tell us more about what this app is going to do.
I want the purpose, what he's just said, to come on the viewfoil.
Good.
So let that purpose just come first. That is something which has to be deliberated upon.
Okay. So we have a little bit of
No, that's okay.
see, program cannot end without having a little bit of a technical glitch.
It's not
just
even
a good
a
omen.
glitch.
It's just a good.
It's just
sign.
there. There's still figure out where it is. Like.
Yeah.
I also want to thank you, Sanjeev, because I was really struggling saying lieutenant, colonel, doctor, and you just went straight down to Ratnesh. Because that's what he is to us, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's only for the paper.
I said right in the beginning, I'm not going to call him lieutenant colonel, retired lieutenant colonel,
Not
and
required.
stuff like that.
Not required.
And especially after reading the book, getting to know, I have been interacting with this man and for so long, and he gave me this book about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and I read the book, and that's when I know that he has got a permanent injury to his eye, and like, what the hell happened, dude? And that's when we got to know, the kind of, it's just a matter of fact for him, and that's what we are going to, hear a little bit more from your father.
Yeah, we'll call him, but yeah, this has come. Okay, this is the vision which Taz has already read. Next one.
next slide, please, Sahil.
You can just scroll it up.
And in the meantime, as we get the next slide, just a request to everybody, you see the QR codes on the panels around. Do scan them. There are a few important pieces of information, and you'll be able to, I think, order the book.
The book is already live now.
So we can do that from there. So do explore that QR code.
I'll just explain a little technicality behind my book. Okay, so Jaico Publishers has approved my manuscript. The agreement has been signed, but these conventional publishers, they take time. So there's a process behind that. So the hardbound will be released next year, somewhere around March or April. So till that time, the time is always at a premium. So I decided to launch my ebook first. That's why it's only the ebook which has been launched. Okay. And so the ebook is on Kindle, and it will come very soon on the Google Play Books as well. So either of the ones you can buy it. It's priced at a nominal price of 299 rupees. Okay, internationally it is about $5, but otherwise India it's 299.
Ratnesh, what quotient is it when there are people like me who like to touch and feel a book?
That's called love quotient.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay. So there's something stuck there?
No, we're on
Next?
the screen.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Taz, if you can read it again, the
Yes.
purpose. Yeah.
So on the
So I will
top-
explain each one of them basically.
So we'll start with access for all. It says,
Okay. Now, when I say access for all, I have a story which is grim, but very close to my heart. I have people from my institution who are here with me, and we are a small place. I have friends listening across the globe, so they should understand that Savantwadi is a small village in southern Maharashtra in district Sindhudurg. It's a very small place, having a population of maybe 25,000, 30,000 is the population there. And in that small place, in that small population, in 1 week, we had 5 suicide attempts. Not attempts, sorry, 5 suicides we witnessed. And they all were in the age group of 15 to 25. That was the age bracket which happened. That touched something in my core, which I cannot name, and it got me thinking as to what can I do so that such thing doesn't happen. So I thought that we have to make mental health reachable, and we have to be approachable. There has to be a system which is approachable to youth and individuals alike, all ages, in remotest of corners, right? So how to do that? That was a big question. I kept on toying. I discussed with a lot of friends, peers, colleagues, etc. So finally, we already have been doing some community service through our foundation. So we said that, okay, let's try and make mental health a priority, and let's take it to the remote corners. And that's why we said that it should have access for all. Yeah, that was one thing.
I guess that also reaches to the next one, which says reach the unreached, right?
Yeah. And when I say pro bono at heart, obviously, mental health is something which is very premium. And any counselor who's there in the environment has been generally charging about 2,000 to 3,000 rupees an hour. That is the minimum. Okay? And obviously, why would anybody compromise to their profession? After all, they also have to earn a bread and butter. Okay? So we have decided that we will have a entire section which will be pro bono. We will not charge anything, and it will be something like this thing sustains for itself. Okay, when I say no, there is okay, it will come at the end. So how does it sustain for itself? So people who can pay actually pay for people who cannot pay. That is the kind of model we are going to create, and we'll have a panel of pro bono counselors who would be willing to give pro bono counseling. In fact, when I have started this, I already have about 20 plus, let us say, individuals, ladies and gents both, who have agreed, and they would be a part of the panel. And we will slowly, gradually start moving we are starting obviously from Maharashtra, and then Goa and Maharashtra, and we will move ahead to different states. And slowly, it's a slow journey, but eventually we will reach there.
It's definitely a commendable thought and a commendable effort, guys.
Okay.
And not only for you, but also for the 20 who have agreed to be with you on this journey. So thank you to them as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay, the next one. Yeah, this we have already discussed. Next. Okay, yeah. So when I said built to last, that is the way the people who can pay would be bringing on the regular cash flow so that we can help those who cannot. And again, it's a thought, maybe it's little utopian. Yeah. So whenever we do some noble deed, I think we all have some utopian concepts and ideas which might not be very practical, but then you do meet like-minded people in the journey, and you take it forward from there. So this is our initiative at the Gleeman Foundation, and this is a 9-year-old foundation. We started this in 2019, and it's a family-run foundation. Me, my wife, and my sister, we are directors, and my sister has flown from Delhi today for this launch, and she does a lot of great work. We have a lot of orphan girls who are directly, I call it her brigade. Okay, so she has this brigade of these orphan girls. That's primarily from education and settling them and vocational skills. But this mental health is a separate new chapter which is again a mind and matter initiative. And we are developing the app. I have my technical team here with me who are into this app, and they are a bunch of conscious youngsters who have kind of come pro bono with me. Can you imagine? That's a big hand to my technical team also. Okay, so they said, sir, you're doing this, so we will be with you in this venture. So that is a fantastic thing, because building apps and the backups and the clouds, etc. It's a big thing, and it really takes a lot of effort plus financial resources to get there. So, but I'm very confident that we will be able to generate the required funds, and the proceeds of the book, I hope it becomes something which can create some ripples somewhere, and we get fairly decent revenue, because a major part of the earnings from the book will obviously go towards our pro bono initiative. Yeah, so this is what our little journey is all about. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, okay. One thing I just want to, somebody asked me, what is this mind and matter and mind monk and all that? So before we wind up, let me just, kind of make things clear. Mind monk is like my, you can say, philosophical persona. I like to build my content around mind monk. And Mind and Matter is my website. It's mindandmatter.life. That is the website. So that is the app name also, the Mind and Matter. So you can say that the Mind and Matter is the home of the Mind Monk, basically. Something like that. Yeah. So anyway.
Interconnected, and it makes a lot of sense. Thank you, because I was also wondering.
Yeah.
So that was definitely very, very insightful, gentlemen. Thank you for that. And we wish you and the team all the very best to make impact and, make more light shine in this world. Heaven knows we need more of that. So thank you so very much for that. Last but not the least, I would like to invite, for just a few words, our chief guest to speak a few words and share your thoughts, from your mind and your heart. May I invite Colonel Dinesh Sinha to please speak a few words.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've been traveling a lot. In fact, last night till 9 o'clock, I did not know that I'll be coming here. It is only at 9 o'clock my mischievous wife persuades my daughter, who's here, Ella, to come to Goa, to go and attend this seminar here. Now she knew that if she prepares her daughter to come here, father will follow. Therefore, at 9 o'clock in the night, last night we decided that okay, we will go, and then we came here at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's how it is. That is also a psychological revolution, that my wife, how that idea came to her and how she motivated my daughter. Now next I will come to the psychological revolution. In fact, a lot has been said, and Ratnesh has done a wonderful job. New pillars of psychology he has written, he has thought of a lot of things, which I had not read. During my time, only emotional quotient and intelligent quotient, only these two were the generally we knew it. But I think the whole aim has been to make a rounded personality, a good personality. In fact, if you ask me if a person is good, well, all-rounded personality, like our parents, I remember my grandfather, my father never told us, do this, padhne jao, nahi padho, go and study. But they will not say. If we have passed, they are very happy. If we have failed, no, next time you can come. That was used to be there. So they developed in us a fearless personality. But values were there. Love for everybody. So we grew. I grew. My son grew. My daughter grew. So our grandchildren. One thing is common in our family. It is because of our lineage. It has come because they have developed in us a well-rounded, honest, neat, clean personality. And that's what I think Ratnesh is trying to tell in his book, that one should be a good, rounded personality and one should see oneself and how it grows. And he is trying to influence the whole society. Well, he's doing a very good job, and I am personally impressed with this book, which I read almost about, I think about 20 days back. I read it twice, and I got enough educated with different kinds of pillars which he has mentioned. And we both have been veterans, as you all know. And I have seen war in its worst form, or you can say in its best form. 65 operations was the only battle which we fought, in the only operation. Afterwards, I also took part in 70 operations. There was hardly small battles, small skirmishes. But in 65, things were bad. And Indian Army was in a bad shape. We were not prepared after 62 operations. So these all things happened. But soldier, as he has said, soldier is emotional quotient is developed. In army, no one deliberately develops. This is emotional quotient. Nobody knows. A soldier dies on the order of the officer. Officer says, go, charge. He knows that where I am going, I'll be possibly, but he does not question. But now everybody questions. Problem is here. Now the son will question father, daughter will question father, wife will question, everybody questions. So there are too many questions around everywhere. now, this is the psychological revolution. I think he is trying to mention in this book that so many questions, they come because we are not aware of various facets of these quotients, various quotients which he has mentioned. I think I don't want to take much time. I think they have already had lots of interesting discussions, both of them. And I congratulate Ratnesh for your wonderful performance. Seeing my son getting all this applause and doing a wonderful job, I'm a very proud father. Thank you very much.
For all of you, Dad has just on 85th birthday was on 31st July.
Awesome.
So he's like, yeah.
Speaking of birthdays, there's another person celebrating his, 40th birthday, I think, today. None other than Ratnesh himself. Let's wish him happy birthday. Now I'm definitely not getting paid. All right, and last but not the least, with a lot of gratitude in our hearts, then it has to be expressed. May I invite Ratnesh's daughter Meher to come and do our vote of thanks.
Good evening, everybody. I am the Mind Monk's daughter, Meher. I couldn't be more proud to bring this beautiful evening to an end. I want to begin by thanking our chief guest, Colonel Dinesh Sinha, who just flew in from Delhi today. He is a veteran of the 1965 war who has blessed this book by writing the foreword in the opening pages. For someone who has lived a life of courage and discipline, his words bring to this book the wisdom of a generation that has not merely spoken about resilience, but lived it. Thank you for being a part of this book and for your presence today. To Mr. Sanjeev Verma, his role tonight as interlocutor was really a continuation of a conversation that began much earlier. When this book was still taking shape, He was among the very first people my father trusted with the unfinished manuscript. His honest reading and thoughtful feedback helped shape what you now hold in your hands. Sir, thank you for believing in this book before anyone else and for guiding tonight's conversation with so much care. To Anastasio Mendes, fondly known as Taz, every event has its own rhythm, and tonight you helped set the pace. Most of us have seen you keep this evening flowing with warmth and wit. What many may not know is that Taz is also the lead singer of a band, so being on stage is very much in his element. Taz, thank you for bringing that energy here tonight. I must also thank the BKC Board of Governors, the staff and students who have stood behind this journey in ways large and small. To Sahil and the Mind and Matter technical team, to Samuel for keeping us live for everyone to watch from afar, to the media and reporters who will carry this evening beyond this room, and to the technical support team of Kala Academy who made this stage possible. Thank you, everyone. There is one more person this book owes a debt to, my mother, Monica Sinha. She was this book's first proofreader, a brutal one at that. She read early drafts with a pen in her hand and no patience for a sentence that did not ring true. Mama, even though your name isn't on the cover, this book carries your fingerprint on nearly every page. Thank you for being its first and most honest reader. And to you, Papa, I have watched this book take shape at our dining table, one thought at a time. Tonight, hearing a room full of people call you the mind monk, what flashes before my eyes are the countless hours you put in behind these pages, the years of discipline, and above all, your unwavering belief that every person has the potential to become a better version of themselves. And perhaps that is what today is really about. It is not simply the launch of a book, but the quiet start of a revolution. One not fought with weapons, but one that begins in all of our minds. This book is not meant to be read once and then placed on a shelf. It is a call for all of us to rediscover intelligence at its fullest sense, where the head, the heart, and the human spirit come together. And even if one person walks out of this hall tonight thinking differently about who they are or who they could become, then the psychological revolution has already begun. I hope this evening stays with you in some way long after you leave this room. Thank you for your presence and for being a part of this journey.
I think. Thank you so much.
Eloquence definitely runs in the family, doesn't it? For the last time, can I ask everybody to give a thundering round of applause to Ratnesh over here for his work and his continued work for all of us. Thank you so much, Ratnesh. Ratnesh will be around to receive your birthday wishes and your questions and birthday bumps as well, Ratnesh.